Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and I'm not alone. As you can see, I'm joined by Felix. It's going to be a good time because we're going to be going through the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer, and we're going to be highlighting everything that Nintendo put in there, but they didn't want you to know. Or they probably did, or they wouldn't have put it in. But even so, small details that would easily pass people by, we're going to be tearing this thing apart. Are you excited, Felix?
I'm so excited. So if there's anything, there might be some obvious stuff that we skip over. So yeah. But I'm very excited, and I bet that you will have some stuff that I have just not spotted because you've seen the trailer. I feel like on a ratio 1 to like 10 times more than me.
Yeah, first thing I did when I woke up this morning, I got my iPad out and I started going through and I found some more stuff, so it's going to be exciting. Did you know that the Nintendo Switch 2 comes with Joy-Con? That's just the sort of thing we're going to be skipping over. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. So here we are, the very start. Obviously, this is the original Switch. There's nothing to see here, except, we know it's bigger, but we knew that anyway. But this bit is kind of fun. So you like this bit. I know you do, because you've mentioned it before.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting these. What was it you called it when we talked about it? There was some kind of special technique.
Oh, it's like a powder coat finish, or like a powdered, like aluminium finish. Don't know that it's going to be aluminium, but it seems possible.
It looks more premium, in my opinion. It looks good.
It does, yeah. I moved to a frame where you can see it a little bit better. It's like this. You can see it in the fine sort of detail here. It's not like it's not super clear, and it doesn't help that the video is very compressed, but it is there. And yeah, I think it also just shows, hey, this is a new Switch underneath. It's not just the big one, the small one, bigger, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But moving on, we get to see, now this is an interesting point, and it's not the USB-C. No, it's not that, Felix. It's more exciting. Can you tell this is our second take? This and this over here. Now, these I initially thought were going to be speakers, and I thought downward firing speakers, not a great idea. They're not speakers. I don't know for a fact they're not. I believe that these are air intakes, and they are big ones.
And that's good for cooling down the system, right?
It is, absolutely, yes. I mean, the OLED and the original Switch both had these as well, but they were not this big, and they were more sort of at the back, kind of like the back corner of the units, whereas here, they're directly underneath. Is that better for airflow? Talk to someone who knows more about it. But then we get a shot of the top here. Not loads to see, but we can see this nice texture again. And the second USB-C port with this little bit of ridge that will make it more sturdy and secure. Things aren't going to be falling out of there in a hurry.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've played my Switch and wanted to charge it. Now, I wanted to charge it so much that I bought a stand for it so I could charge it while playing. But this just, it solves it. I really like that you have the option to both go in the top and the bottom. And you can even plug something in from the top while it's docked in. I don't know if that's going to be like a thing, but yeah, having
possibly,
two,
yeah.
I'm well up for it. And right to the right, we have the headphone jack, which is just really nice to see that we can still plug it in.
You know that this makes the Switch 2 more advanced than an iPhone. Imagine that. Incidentally, I hasten to point out, more interesting things are coming later on. It's not all vents, baby. Or rather air intakes. Now, we can see the stand being protruded here, but there's something at the bottom here. This little sort of like cutout here, let me clear that so you can get a better look at it. But this little cutout here, I believe this is the micro SD card slot. It's not guaranteed that we're going to have micro SD, but I think it would be foolish if there wasn't. It's asymmetrical. There's nothing on this side that would suggest that it's some sort of notch or something for alignment. I think that is exactly where it is. It fits in line with previous Switches as well. It's just, behind the kickstand.
You make a good point, because, you can't see it on the left. And I must admit, I completely missed that. That's a good eye, Alex.
Well, I was looking for the micro SD card slot.
And yeah, I really like also that they've brought over some changes from the OLED, like a better kickstand. We'll see how sturdy it is, but it looks really good. It looks like there's some good engineering going on. And then also the little rubber things on like the bottom to hold it in place, which the original Switch didn't have.
Ruining extra points coming up later on. Good gravy. Let's have a look at those then, shall we? Well, I mean, you can see them now here. There's a little rubber thing. But if you were in any doubt about the microSD card slot, I believe we get a better look there.
Oh, yeah.
So let's clear that off. So you see that there, that's much clearer. And you may look at it and see, oh, it's just parallel to this. That's in the center. That's the central notch. It's nothing major, of course, but, it's still interesting to see, sort of the minutiae. That's the whole point of this video. We also get to see something quite interesting. Now, keep your eye on this part of the hinge. Not a big deal at all, but keep your eye on it as we go forward. Did you notice how it got closer together? That gap got closer.
Mm-hmm. I did. Now where's my price?
That is some fun engineering right there. I don't know what that means, but a hinge that has multiple moving parts is usually a good thing. It usually means it's going to be really, really secure, because why would they put more moving parts in there unless it was a benefit? I like benefits. Also, we can see that the...
really low.
Really low. But the Switch 2 will also be spring-loaded. That's not true. But we do get another look at the air intakes here, so we can really see that those are whoppers, absolute whoppers. I do hope that they're not going to be blocked if you rested on your belly when you're playing.
That's a good point. I guess we'll have to wait and see. That'll be a new video.
Switch
2 overflows with heat if you play on your belly.
Now, I believe we're going to get a moment here, if I can just progress frame by frame,
oh my God,
although this is not
Joy-Con.
the best at doing frame by frame. Hey, Felix.
Yes.
What's that?
I don't know. What is that?
That's a little dot, my friend. It's not a screw hole. We've got a screw hole here.
Oh, is it like a reset button or something like that?
No. We don't know what it is, but I would hazard a guess. You're going to be very happy. Oh. That looks like a microphone hole to me.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're completely right. Oh my God. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
But it's a weird position, but I mean, it'll get the work done, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, the 3DS microphone was also in a slightly unusual place. It didn't cause it any problems. Not that many people used it for much at all, but it doesn't mean that there's not going to be some sort of use later down the line. I also believe...
Do you know what I reckon? I reckon that it's on the top so it doesn't interfere so much, because I know the Switch OLED speakers, a lot of them are on the bottom. So maybe it's like to not, when you have the audio coming out at the same place, so they put them in different positions.
That's a really good point, because the amount of laptops back in the day that would have the microphone way too close to the speaker, and it would just be awful. And they weren't good speakers anyway, and they weren't good microphones. We've also got the light sensor up here. This is the same place as it is on the OLED, so that will be for your auto brightness.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's very close to the Kart slot. So hang on, I gotta change my game. That's how it's gonna sound.
I mean,
it probably didn't come through for you. I don't know.
Oh, I heard it. Don't worry. I mean, how often do you change your game card mid-call?
You'd be surprised how little I do it.
Moving on, we get to see now. This is something just to let's go back a tiny bit so that we can be a little bit more prepared. So now, one thing that I want you to keep an eye on here, and this is the easiest way to do it, is watch the size of these buttons. Okay, the standard face buttons.
Yeah. I saw that.
So watch this. They grow, and now when we see the blue Joy-Con, that's sort of like, that's interesting. Now keep your eye on this button, the capture button. Okay? Just so that it's not like a standard scaling thing. That remains the same size. So, the face buttons are getting bigger along with the D-pad buttons, but these buttons remain the same. How's that for a minor improvement? Also, the Joy-Con sticks get bigger as well. I should probably have pointed that out as well.
Look at that. We have a mini D-pad on the right Joy-Con. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah. I seem to remember somebody did actually at one point believe that. Or at least someone said it. I don't know whether they believed it. Now, just to, let's go through it frame by frame. Why not? Just to really show you how this goes. So watch the face buttons. Here we go. Nintendo rendered this at 60 frames a second, so I have to press it twice for each frame.
Wow, look at those buttons, bro.
They got bigger, boy. Also, I mean, you can just see here the comparison between the two.
Yeah.
They're bigger, you know.
That's really...
How do you like them apples?
I quite fancy that because the buttons on the original Joy-Cons are teeny tiny.
They are.
Like a 3DS, like 3DS buttons.
Yeah, but also, just pay attention, the markings disappear. Now, it's possible this will skip the video forward. Oh, there we go.
Wait, you're right.
That's just a flaw in the system that I got set up. But yeah, there are no buttons on there to denote direction.
Also, the C button has no C. Just anyone did not catch that yesterday.
So anyone who's unaware, the leaks for this button down here, this extra button, originally had a C on it, and now it doesn't. And we don't know why, but I imagine... you know, sort of, it will probably get some sort of markation. It's just not being shown at the moment. Why that is, I don't know, but it's going to be a very difficult, you know, if you have to press it in game or the system tells you press this button, it's going to be saying press square or push square. That's our sister site. And that's not a very obvious thing to push. It's doubly so because there is a square button over on this side as well. So I imagine there is going to be something marking it, but it's not there at the moment. We get a little look at the little, the gloopy gloop. Now we get a little look. We get a little look. What I like about this render, they've even got the seams. So do you see here the seam?
Yep.
It's just nice. It's that detailed, and yet we still can't see anything on the quote-unquote C button, which is interesting. However, what is far more interesting is look at this swooping here. Do you see that line?
I do.
It will become clearer later on as well, but that is a very similar line to the IR camera on the Switch 1. But what's doubly interesting, blurp, look at that. Is not this. This is, you know, we know all this. I will show a few things to other people who may not have seen it when we get a better look at it. But here we go, gloopy gloop. But we see the same IR on the left Joy-Con as well, where there was never an IR camera on the left Joy-Con on the Switch 1.
I was sure it's an oh my god, can't speak. But it could also be like just a visual thing, right? Just change a bit of texture thing. Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that this is an IR camera. It also looks matte. And I don't know whether you can do an IR camera. That might be completely possible. I'm not an engineer. I also have just noticed there are markings on these buttons.
Oh my god. The markings are back.
You know, thanks Nintendo. They heard our feedback. Blurp. And once again, so.
Okay. I want to talk about this because there's a cool new change. And that is that we now have the, you know, you can see the players on the top instead of in front. So now you can just look down instead of flipping your Joy-Con.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool.
It means that you can see them easily, even if you're not in a grip for whatever reason.
Yes.
Which is nice. We also get a look at this, which we will discuss in more detail in a moment. It's not exactly a secret, but we should, in fact, be able to see it there.
That's a good frame.
That is a good frame. Well done, Alex. This, for anyone who's unfamiliar, and we do like to be thorough, this is the connection port, in case anyone was wondering. This is the same as on the Switch 1. This is to power on and sync. This is the most exciting, in my opinion, because that is essentially, if you're at a computer, pick up your mouse and have a look underneath. That is an optical sensor, just like you would get in a mouse. And there's even more evidence to further that later on. But for now, we get to see the buttons can be pressed. That's exciting.
Yes.
The sticks can be moved.
I saw a theory that this is like Nintendo showing off, you can use the sticks and they will get no drift. Like, why would they show it off like that so proudly? It's like, now we have cool sticks.
I think they're just showing it off. But there is something, I suppose, to mention here, and that's this collar here. If you look at an original Joy-Con, if you got one handy, that collar is sort of there, but it's definitely not the same. This is more raised and more part of the Joy-Con shell. Just an interesting little note. Design change. Maybe it stops more detritus falling in. I don't know, but it's a design change, so I imagine there was a reason for it.
Also, look at the texture of the Joy-Con.
Yeah, you can kind of see it here. Thanks, compression. Yeah, it just looks, it's got that lovely matte finish. It's not going to be smooth. I mean, it will be smooth by the time that my hands have finished touching it because I have acidic skin for some reason. Seriously, I eat through metal. Here we go. So let's go back just for a moment so we can get that frame by frame. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is the Joy-Con strap.
Yes.
And it is a completely different design to the original. Another thing to note whilst we're here as well, actually, on the Joy-Con rail, there's a little cutout up there. And a little button down there. So I imagine this is how this is attached. And this will release it somehow using springs or something. But this is really nice because this will also provide a foot for your Joy-Con so that you're not going to be wearing down the actual rail. You're going to be wearing down this bit, which is far cheaper to replace. A nice touch, I think.
Yes.
We also, when we move on, it always skips ahead. This video player, not ideal for this. But we can see them skating around. There's nothing really to see here. Skatey, skatey. We can see that button again here on the blue Joy-Con. And I believe we get another look at... Oh, no, we've gone too far. Okay, we've gone a little bit further back than I thought, but you can see there is also a little indent down here on the bottom of the Joy-Con rail as well. How's that for fun?
Oh, and now we're back here. Look at that thing being popped out.
This is the this is the pin. This is what helps remove it from the Joy-Con. You push this little button back here, and it goes click, and then it all comes out. How's that?
Not the SL button.
No, do not press the SL. It's the bit behind the SL button. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. Right, and we can see the Joy-Con flying out here, and we get to see the connectors, which... You know, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, that's really exposed. It's not. It's behind, like, it's flush with the external parts here. It certainly looks like anyway. I think people are overblowing how delicate this piece is. I actually have even more to say about it, but not in this video. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Look at lightning connectors on your phone. Same thing. It's not going to be a problem. And we can see them. They're magnetic. Now, there is actually a point that I want to raise here. This is symmetrical all the way around, as are the Joy-Con rails. What is to stop you from doing it upside down?
Oh.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Well, I don't know this. This is pure speculation, but we know that there are magnets somewhere. I imagine the magnets are in the switch part themselves, and all these need to be is this one's positive, this one's... Let me clear that. This one's positive, this one's negative, so the magnets will just repel it.
Oh, people are going to be pressing so much trying to get it in.
Some people will, and I'm sure it'll come up saying, you put your Joy-Con in upside down. Don't do that.
How did you manage that?
But we'll get a better look here, and I'll do a very quick demonstration. So my theory, and this is only a theory, is that we're going to have a positive magnet up here, a negative magnet here, positive one here, negative here. They will attract one another, but if you try and do them upside down, they'll repel each other. Simple pimple. Simple as that.
Magnets are fascinating.
They are. Magnets, how do they work? No one actually knows. This is interesting as well. This is the Arabic numeral for 2, which is really interesting that they're going with Arabic numerals. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just wanted to highlight the 2. We're getting the Switch 2! And, 2 Nintendo Switch. Now, we get a little bit of a sort of a quick fire thing here. There's not that much else to see, admittedly.
There is the arrows, very much.
Yeah, you can see the arrows, but we do see... in fact, you can get it... Let's go back a little bit and show you, for anyone who's unaware, these are the release mechanisms. In fact, I'll put a little clip up from another video that Nintendo have shared showing the Joy-Con being released. It's basically, it looks like a mechanical system, very clever, rather than electromagnets, which would just not be a good idea on something that runs on a battery. You've got a mechanical release system. I like it.
Yeah, I had seen people speculate that thing could also have been like a third thing you could press in, and that one actually, instead of being a clicky one, is actually one that you can.
Oh, it's in like an input.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds horrible to me. But to each their own, I suppose. But anyway, there are a few little bits left to look at. Not many, admittedly. But, we're not going to go through Mario Kart in detail. There's loads of stuff happening back here. But if you want to know about that, you'll have to check out Felix's video, where he goes over this
yesterday
in phenomenal detail. There'll be a link in the description. I also believe that you can find it because you are a clever sausage. And as we move on, we see the dock. Now,
Yay.
This got Xeon very excited because look at all this exposed bit up here. It's all exposed. What could they use this for? They could display anything on here. They could write hello. They could, or they could just do what they've done with the current Switch, which is unfortunately what I think it's going to be. And that's just going to be a little indicator saying battery charge.
Yeah, like the original Switch also, admittedly not as much, but also has some screen exposed.
It does, yeah. And it would be nice if they did a bit more with it, but I mean, it's by no means impossible. I want to make that clear. It's by no means impossible, but that is not a lot of screen real estate. And if you're quite far away from your console, it's, it doesn't strike me as super useful.
It would be cool, like having a little Mario run just on there, like some
that would be
animations.
Fun.
Yeah.
If they treat, people are going to go into the comments now and start talking. What if it's like a VMU for the Dreamcast? The memory card that has a screen on it and like controls. Those were the days. That was bizarre. The dock does look a little bit different. Obviously, rounded corners. I'm sure I don't need to mention that, but. That's all we can tell from the dock at this point. Unfortunately, because they're being a little bit mean. Let me clear that off. And we see that removed. Now, there is something to be said about this, the grip. Now,
yes.
I've already mentioned this to you, Felix, but for everyone else at home, keep an eye on these little bits here, which I'm going to call the wings. Keep an eye on the wings, because as we go through, you'll see the reflections are flat. These are flat. They don't actually cup the Joy-Con in any way. They are merely a flat surface because if they did cup it, you couldn't get the Joy-Con in, as they show right there. Succinct. Thank you, Nintendo.
I'm a bit worried that it's going to be like a rough, like the way it just cuts off. It looks very sharp. Like, is that going to be comfortable? Do you even feel it?
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned, but then I haven't used a Joy-Con grip in about... I think about 6 years.
I use it when I get friends over, and because then they can use the Pro Controller. Then I just use my Joy-Con. It's fine.
It's okay.
I also just hope the connectivity of the Joy-Con is better, because I feel like sometimes it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, it can be a little bit rough. But unfortunately, Nintendo haven't put a little note saying better. Better. That's my handwriting. It's delightful, isn't it? And that is pretty much everything that is hidden in this trailer, except that it's coming out in 2025. There's nothing really much to show here. The only thing that I would say is vaguely of note, the bezels are noticeably smaller on the new Switch. In fact, very roughly, they are almost equivalent to the OLED. So I actually think the bevels are fine. It's certainly a huge improvement over this. These things were chunky back in the day.
Oh yeah, I'm not really that much of like bezels can be there. I grew up with a lot of bezels on my TV. It's all right. We're having a good life. But yeah, I think it looks great. I can't wait to actually hold it in my hand and just be like, wow, this is the Switch 2, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. And the best thing is it's for everyone.
That's
yum,
me.
Yum. God, there we go. That ended up being longer than I anticipated. But what did you think? I know there was some stuff you didn't know, Felix, because you said as much.
Oh yeah, I said it in the start. I'm gonna say it again. It was I learned a lot of stuff, and now I feel like an expert. So I hope everyone watching feels the same. Was there anything that we missed? Well, let us know down in the comments below.
Please do. We'd love to know if there's anything we've overlooked, because there's bound to be something. We're only human. We've only got 4 eyes between us, so let us know with a comment down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you analyze that subscribe button? Or there might be something hidden if you look on the left side. No, the left side! And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
Look under your armpit, Alex. That's an SD card slot! Whoa!
Hello there, lovely. My
Outtake!